You get 20% off of MOBA Trainer and Unlimited Puzzles if you use LPL 20. There is a panel and a chat command if you want to look more into that one. But let's dive into this draft. It's already gone through the ban phase. Same side selections, different ban adaptations. The Rise replacing the bans here as Gwen slips through again, and this time, Trouble, TS commit to it.
No, I'm scared. We're giving Azir away to Scout. Azir Zinzao over to JDG potentially could be very scary. However, I do like the adaptation, as you mentioned, about top esports. And again, the whole centering the idea around a different player for the game number 2369 now being that B1 for the set of top esports on that Gwen. And Zinzao is definitely going to be in the rotation right here, especially since Talia got locked in as well. Vi is no longer in the picture. It's one of the most prominent mid-jungle duos that we do see over in the LPL.
Wow, okay. I was with you. I expected, like, we'd lock in Zinzao alongside the Talia. You just both those champions together buy so much space with the Crescent Guard and the slippering stones, the seismic shove. Maybe we'll just get the Zinzao. You always don't want to fall for the hovers, but the Jax gets locked in, so instead JDG will jump on the counter pick top already for Ala.
We get Ala's Jax, and if that Sejuani gets locked in right here for Kanavi, it wouldn't be very surprising to see something like a Yone getting locked in from Creme. Also, Azir is open, and it's something that Creme has been gravitating towards. I call Yone and Azir literally the same champion. They just build different items, so whichever one of the two it is, which is going to be the Yone right here, they're literally the same champ.
Same champ. That's a call, knowing how much different the damage profiles are. Hey, you definitely can. I see the vision. You can make the very similar plays with both of those champions. Is that the mid lane matchup we get, though? Because Scout gets his Yone. You talked about how good of a Yone player Scout can be. Does he pick the Azir into it?
And I think Talia is primarily playing towards the mid lane, right? So, we're actually going to get shown onto this Lilia. And let's see right here. JDG can get a super strong shoving bot lane of the map so they can allow Shun to play again more aggressive into that Sejuani. You are a farming type of champion when you're playing that Lilia and extremely potent when it comes to those engages. And as you can see from the set of top esports, they want to play into JDG. So this is an opportunity for big ults coming through from Shun.
Yeah, and Lilia just loves going into major melee comps, and you have 3 melees already picked for top esports. So Jun, off of a very good Nefiri game, continuing to show he might be on a really good level of form these last couple of series here for JDG, in another big spot for them as they look to end El Clasico early with a 2-0. But no marksman picked here. Trouble means that we are going to be firing off bans towards JackeyLove and Peyz. The Xayah and the Kaisa already taken off the board alongside more marksmen than you expect from Game 1 in Fearless.
Yeah, and of course you have things like the Ezreal as well. That's extremely elusive when it comes to those team fights, and seeing how top esports really like diving into the backline. I feel like Ezreal could potentially be something that Peyz gravitates towards. He does play a lot of that champion as well. However, the pool that we usually see for supports has not been touched. The Alistars, the Leonas, the Nautiluses, the Rakans of the world have absolutely not been touched right here. And I wouldn't be surprised if top esports actually take a hit right here onto the Ezreal or even the Jhin. Anything that likes to either set up or play for distance is good for both of these teams right here.
I like the Misfortune ban from JDG as well, with the Sejuani, Yone, Gwen. Like, they could buy a lot of space to try and set up a pretty good bullet time. You talked about the Ezreal. That's going to be the final ban here. So, yeah, I think JDG, do they save R5 for Peyz? I would figure they'd rather take the support counter. And it could be the Jhin coming to facilitate a lot of damage dealing in the top side for JDG. It's locked in.
Absolutely. I feel like here that you could run into the problem that Jhin doesn't deal very well with tanks, but Sejuani, especially through the jungles, is not going to be the biggest, massive B4 that you have in front of you. And right here, I wouldn't be surprised if we see something like more of a diving kind of situation from JackeyLove. His Corki hasn't necessarily been touched here as well. Gets pretty good priority through that lane, but having that R5 for JDG for missing means that if you choose to go with one of your classic Alistars or Rels, you could potentially be running into Bromasa. JDG don't necessarily have like a way they're looking to play the game. Everything is situational with the walls and the Lilia sleeps.
And they're going into just such a close range comp too. That's the one caveat with Corki. Again, I think you called it out well. Shun on this Lilia could really just run this game 1v9. There is such low range on top esports. The Nautilus is a decent pick into Lilia if there is somewhat reliable lockdown, but this Lilia could really run wild as the Alistar, the immediate denial into a dive-heavy comp with the Yone, Nautilus going forward Gwen. I like that R5 for missing. And we have our draft in front of us here. And maybe a bit clearer of an execution here for Top Esports, something we were looking for after Game 1 draft.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like for Top Esports, putting Kanavi on dog duty, putting him on a leash right here onto the Sejuani is like, listen, buddy, we drafted around you onto that vine. Now you're going to be drafted around the rest. I feel like Creme needs to have a resurgence in that game number 2. His Akali was completely invisible over in game 1. And right here, he does have that chance because that Yone translates into a sideline menace later on, which is going to run into that Jax. So I feel like that Gwen-Jax matchup in the early game is going to be so telling, as in Wheat's team is going to be more prominent over in the sideline later on.
We talked a lot about Kanavi, obviously dedicating over half a decade of his life to JDG, playing in so many integral, awesome LPL playoff games for championships, taking LPL titles off of Top Esports. Game 1, he wasn't prioritized, but someone he did do a lot of winning with on JDG was 369, who now has to try and play the integral role up against his former club as well as JDG on the other side with their veterans and their run as they try and close out the first round robin by toppling the kings of the LPL. Can they do it in sweeping fashion for the El Clasico? We're going to find out on Summoner's Rift, and maybe a bit slower fashion compared to how hectic Game 1 was after this draft.
Absolutely. There is so much scaling on both of these teams. But I feel like, particularly looking at those two Titans, JDG are looking to solidify themselves on that top 2, top 3 conversation, starting potentially here.
And as we get onto the Rift, do see that 369 is going for that full lane aggression. You talked about the early game. Gwen versus Jax, that is Ignite Teleport, and maybe we'll have some more level 1 shenanigans as the good old Dredgeline hitbox on the list. Maybe sets up Scout to fall here. They're going to try and give the kill over to a priority target. It's Creme that grabs first blood. A pretty perfect start there for Top Esports.
I mean, that is a great way to start if you want to turn the tides around, if you want to turn the best of around. Giving that kill over to Creme, having that 1-0 Yone. I'm not sure what Scout was doing going that deep, trying to take that ward down over the Raptor pit for JDG, really costing me his life. I feel like early invading when you do not have the backup of your team can be a double-edged sword, specifically because Alistar is not really a champion on that level 1, so your invading potential is not as strong as on the side of Top Esports.
Yeah, it was really weird. You would definitely expect the roles to be reversed with how much powerful Top Esports are on level 1. So Scout gets put behind Creme, who we talked about on the Akali was pretty quiet after blinding it into JDG. Now in a prime spot. One of those 3 members of all 10 players to not have a major international stage win. Looking to leave his impact on this series down 0-1.
Frisk is gonna miss his Q right there. Try to take that minion last second. Wasn't quite the case. Now, of course, the Corki versus the Jhin. With Corki, you do have a lot of power in terms of poking, and the level 2 from Top Esports gonna come through, but after that, just a little bit of harmless back and forth as Top Esports gonna hit level 2 first. I feel like Jhin and Corki are sort of like, they're both caster AD carries, right? They do have good raw power in lane, specifically for that early game, and they both push pretty similarly as well. However, for Crisp and JackeyLove right here, keeping that priority down the bottom of the map is very crucial. And if you look over on the top side, both those junglers are going to end up on the top river Scuttle Crab. So that Yone that we mentioned earlier that got that first kill early could potentially be what gives Kanavi the edge on the top side river.
JDG, they're trying to throw it down on this bot side to catch JackeyLove going for a reset. The Valkyrie 4 from JackeyLove trying to min-max the damage ratios on that ability. Does force the barrier out of Peyz. Missing min-maxing his range there as Shun is the first one into this top side. Trying to cut off the flashless 369 who only knows one thing. Has to go for the fight. Finds the kill on Ala thanks to the Ignite, and that forces Shun to bail out. We called out 369. The B1 Gwen does not disappoint for TES.
Shun, that was actually a really clever way to try and gank right there. 369 was not expecting him because the clear had not come through on the top side. As you see, Shun, he's gonna look now, but Kanavi is already in his jungle, level 4 with red buff, and it's not gonna stay necessarily because Gwen is just about now getting on the map, but he's going to delay that red buff spike. 369 taking matters into his own hands right there. Again, that B1 for each team needs to be very, very influential, and right now 369 is putting in the work.
Slowing down these solo lanes too, who are pretty integral to the composition for JDG, especially Ala, who got this counter pick on the Jacks, putting himself in a bit of a hole alongside Scout, and that never feels good when you have a power farming jungler as well that really coasts in games where lane priority comes from self-sufficient lanes. Definitely not the reality going forward here for JDG.
Yeah, it's gonna hurt them a little bit on the short term. However, for top esports, you are looking for first items to come through to at least be able to take those big fights, right? The Trinity Force into the Corki, Blade of the Ruin Game onto Creme's Yone, Riftmaker potentially onto 369 on this Gwen as Crisp is taking his reset, but he's not heading bot lane. Alice super low again, no flash.
This is easy. This is like fishing in a barrel right now. Ala is completely cornered. I don't even think Chris needed to show up. He got the assist with Ignite. That's how easy of a kill that was for 369, who's now 2-0 on the Giga Gwen.
Hey, you know what? He did roam through the top side, so he deserved at least the assist with the Ignite.
Yeah.
369, 2-0 already. He's going to snip away that first tower plating as well from the top lane tower, and this is where the shifts are going to come through. As you can see, JackeyLove already heading towards the top side of the map. 30 seconds for the void grabs. I would say that top esports would really like to have their Gwen around, so I would like to actually see if they're going to take 369 towards the top side of the map. It's not going to be the case since they are swapping the bot lane as well, but this is where majority of the damage do lie right now. Hunting guys already on that Gwen 5 minutes in.
This game is in already such a tough spot for JDG, whose composition we called out is a lot of flavors. As Creme wants his angle onto Scout. The seismic shove, though, just not enough damage from Creme. Breaks up the reset and won't really cost anybody too much. No flashes burned, just that ult check from Creme at the end of the day.
Yeah, Kanavi's trying to take his first void grab up top. You usually just smite one, handshake, move out, and see if there's an opportunity to move back in. Reminder, Scout is coming back from base. So right here, top esports. Yeah, they can't stay too long.
Send Scout towards the bot side, and it'll be the 2-for-1 trade there. Good to see TES not over-aggressing at a neutral that they knew they already had a win on, grabbing 2 mites, so no overstaying to fight a losing fight there, Trouble.
As the reset comes through from Creme as well onto this Yone. They're still looking to punish. Ala cannot catch a break right here. He's either playing into Gwen who has Ignite, or Crisp comes top lane, drops his Ignite, or he has to play 2 versus 1. And going back to that deja vu of the lane swap meta, playing Jax, not super fun right there, as Missy's going to get spotted over on the tops of the map. And Dragon, next neutral objective, to be under both teams' eyes at this particular moment. Very important breakpoints. Level 6, just about for Shun. For Lilia to have flash right here when there's so many short range and melee champions on the side of TES could be huge if a team fight breaks out for JDG.
It's a big focal point. This Lilia Craft, who has to burn flash just to respect 369 and Kanavi, so that engage tool needed for JDG becomes a lot more limited for that very dragon that a lot of attention is being poured into.
So beautifully done. We literally just mentioned it. A flash on Shun, now that he's level 6, is going to be huge. A Q flash into a multi-man sleep. It's going to be what JDG needs to turn games around, as Missing is looking for that bot lane gank.
Yeah, but Creme's getting a lot of solid damage down to Scout as he recasts the Soul Unbound. Kanavi is close by to cover, and it's just a protection job there from Missing to try and keep Scout alive as TS look to eventually overload this side of the map even further. prioritizing that dragon, but they got pushed in mid lane. They've got bot lane under control. This dragon is soon to be slain by the defending champions.
Ah, isn't this beautiful? You push out bot lane, you push out mid lane, you have 3 wards in that river, 2 of them being control wards. You are properly set up for neutral objective. TES is back. They're actually playing by the book right here. As I'm saying this though, 3 members sent over the tops of the map for JDG, and that wave is pushing for 369. That's the overextend.
Oh, doesn't have flash, by the way. Flash from Alla, though, to get the Counter-Strike stun into a perfect seismic shove. It's the big shutdown they need, and Alla grabs that gold, deservedly so. Something to get the engine started there for JDG.
Yeah, huge opening right here, as they do find JackeyLove too.
Yeah, they get the Deadly Flourish down. JackeyLove able to use the Valkyrie to kite back to safety. Curtain Call going to come across. Time to test Peyz to see how locked in he is to firing these shots, and he goes nearly over. The crit shot not going to be enough without the preliminary ones landing.
But again, huge play on the top side from JDG. They commit 3 members, but there were 3 members from Top Esports on the top side of the map, so Top Esports cannot trade the dragon for their top laner's life. JDG come out on top right here, taking that kill, grabbing that trade over in the middle as well, chipping away the tower just a little bit. And second set of Void grabs, 40 seconds away. You'd think that JDG actually want to handshake, at least not to give a take on the neutral objectives. Feats of strength right here over to Top Esports as Kanavi is going to take his reset and get back up on the map.
Alla also taking that reset, heading right back towards that bot side. Creme has teleport advantage, so there's a lot of tools in the cards here for TES to comfortably take at least the majority of these grubs. And with Jun's clear, I wonder if this might just be a dragon traded for all 3 of the grubs, as JDG really don't have a lot of comfortable avenues into contesting.
However, I do see that Lilia is going to be popping towards the top side of the map. I don't know if JDG are going to choose to walk in there at all. It is not their territory. There is no setup, as you mentioned as well. So the correct way would be to not contest and just keep funneling gold into this Lilia. A lot of farming coming through from Shun, which is going to be the case right here. 5 Void Grubs are going to go over to the side of the Esports Creme.
Alla is throwing down. The Grandmaster's Might gives him the extra defenses. He's got the R passive to force out some more damage, and Creme has to flash away. So one shutdown may have invigorated Alla, but we've got bigger fish to fry here on this top side. Missy does a really good job interrupting Crisp on the dive. 4 members of TS towards this top side looking for Scout, and they're going to find nothing.
In the meantime, look at that push from Peyz over in the mid lane as Creme is going to come back onto this lane.
No ult.
Going to use his ult right here. So 3 Void Grubs going over to Top Esports. So +1 tick on that feat of strength. Plus 5 Void Grubs on the side lane. However, Alla is already bullying Creme. Now, don't get too alarmed. Blade of the Ruin King will be completed eventually, and Yone will become one of the most unstoppable champions, even though Blade of the Ruin King was touched and it was nerfed quite a while back. Still one of the best items for Yone. That champion does truly really shine on 3 items, of course, when you've got your Shield Bow and your Infinity Edge completed. And right now, Top Esports, with all the setup that they had, a lot of the wards had either expired or been used on the top side of the map. So JDG are the first ones in the river right here. And, even though there was a pretty good early game from Top Esports so far, it feels like JDG are winning on a lot of fronts, getting pressure, grabbing flashes away from Creme, taking that first dip into river, setting down their vision. So that dragon is looking very JDG favorite for now.
Well, I'll talk about early game, but this has got to be the latest first Drake we've seen in a lot of LPL games. We were at 12:25 virtually on the clock, and this first Drake is likely soon to fall, and TS know it. They've got the ward in the pit, but they will not be contesting it, as Shun and Peyz will handle it. We talked a little bit about the overarching theme of this game too, so with Creme and his scaling threat. It's going to be very important to track not just Creme, but 369, who gets that Rift Maker first. Alla's still a little bit behind. He's a scaling Jax. He's get to that Trinity Force. The Leandries is done for Shun, as he's a scaling threat. You've got a Jin that's going to build that full crit build. So many items to track, but our eyes gravitate towards the top side. JackeyLove gank. It just gets a little bit of poke damage down, a little bit underwhelming.
Mid lane was pretty even, but I feel like JackeyLove did just not want to overextend on his own because Chris was taking the reset. So he's like, I've got nothing better to do. Let me gag for my top laner. It's his time to shine. I mean, rightfully so, right? 1,000 gold up on this Gwen. Riftmaker, you mentioned it completed as well. So if you manage to funnel more gold into this Gwen, he will become a monster earlier than you would expect. However, now JackeyLove is going to go back towards that mid lane. Push out that wave against Peyz on the Jhin. Then everything's back to normal. We do not necessarily have any neutral objectives in near sight as Shun is trying to farm his way, but Creme and Kanavi are around. They've spotted him.
Nice flash going to come over the wall here. A ton of lockdown between these two. And again, that coveted flash for Shun's ability to engage for JDG goes off cooldown, goes right back onto cooldown. He is here hovering for Ala to make sure the dive does not come across. So again, TES move a lot of people to overload topside, and JDG read their play very, very well and shut down any dive threats.
But the timings are impeccable right here from Top Esports. They have been constantly tracking down Shun before big neutral objectives, and right now we're going to have the Herald. Hold on, Ala.
Yeah, Ala. Ooh, great jump over the wall for Kanavi. Lands the Glacial Prison expertly, and Caster Purse comes across. Clean dive this time. Ala finally falls for a third time.
And what I was mentioning previously is that before every big neutral objective fight, Kanavi made it his mission to spot Shun in the jungle. And one ult from Kanavi is all it took to consistently take Shun's flash to not be able to get those big sleepy time with the Q flash from Lilia. Right here, he didn't even need to burn his flash from the side of, his ult from the side of Kanavi. And Shun flashless again, 1 minute for the next Herald and 2.5 minutes for the second dragon that spawned on the Rift. And Shun with no flash could be very easy prey when you've got things like Sejuani and Nautilus around the Rift for Top Esports.
Yeah, trouble. The entire top side for JDG also without their flash. I believe we lost it off screen, but Scout's flash is on about the same cooldown as Ala's right now. So you have no flash on your Lilia, your Talia, and Jax, making it really hard for JDG to justify a lot of fighting. And it might just get even worse here is Missing has to burn that unbreakable will, that coveted ultimate for the Alistar, and Chris finds his mark. One dredge line. June with no flash like we talked about is caught out and hung to dry.
2-0 on the Yone. Blade King already completed. Feature strength gone over to Top Esports. Chris with the supportal combat right there.
Back cancel.
Not letting Missing reset right there. And they're, oh boy, their target is Ale for one more time.
Yep. Bot lane, top lane turret, doesn't matter. They see a dive angle. TES are hopping on for the play, but Ala sneaks out. The Grandmaster's Might defensive stats value might have just saved him as he survives 1 for 4 of his dives, or 3/4 of his dives.
Missing's gonna trim down the wave as well, but this is going to be pretty much a tower for Creme. They're TPing back. This is going to be Ale getting back into
Kanavi
lane.
Reset. This is free. Kanavi's on the reset. Creme does burn the flash to get away from the first stun and sidesteps the deadly flourish, so we'll just get Creme's flash off of reset for the teleport flame from Ala.
Really quick plays right here from JDG, trying to get something to stick, and nothing really is. As this is happening over on the bottom of the map, committing those teleports. JackeyLove is pushing down that mid lane, has chipped down that tower pretty massively, I would say. And Shun, oh, you poor summer child. Don't EP in there.
Oh, this is not your jungle, buddy. He just gets completely surrounded trying to contest this red buff. He gets a little lullaby down onto 2, but it's too late. Shun drops the Weaver's Wall, buys some time for JG to make sure that JackeyLove doesn't push any further damage out, but these are small wins, with the bigger ones going to the side of the defending champions as their gold lead grows, their control over the map grows, and the Giga Gwen grows even further. Scout barely surviving a Might with 369, who now turns his attention to Missing. Blast Cone bails him out, but it's just all bailouts right now for JDG. No wins across the map.
Ale can't even step under his tower because it's going down, and Creme is just letting his creeps die in front of his eyes. Top Esports, absolute domination across the entire Rift. 4,000 gold in the lead. There's not a single lane that's doing bad for Top Esports, and the more the fog of war grows for JDG, the more Top Esports will be fist fighting. You see them right now. They see champion, the engaged champion. They've got the tools. This is Sejuani, the Nautilus. Crisp has been all over the map as Creme has actually started this dragon for his jungler. Miss is gonna spot it, but they can't walk in.
It's Crisp again with the dredge lines on point, and Missing adding to the burger total right there as the Alistar falls. Dragon grabbed And what a response. We asked the question, Trouble, what does TS look like in unfamiliar territory coming off a Game 1 loss for the first time out of so many of their series? And they look angry.
Absolutely. Full-on domination every single lane as Ale has been the target again from top esports. He's done pretty well evading majority of the things thrown his way, but not everything. And right here, like, this game is just gonna get harder and harder to play. Unfortunately, JDG with their plan, it hasn't necessarily been the easiest to try and get Shun into those fights. There haven't necessarily been fights. Top esports have been picking apart JDG one by one, pushing them further behind their towers and just taking full control of this river. And now their next objective in mind will possibly be that Rift Trail. You can very easily unlock that mid lane and just make it harder and harder for JDG to just step up to clear out those waves.
It's just impossible for them to play any of their game plan out. Ala shut out from trying to become a split push threat. Jun has been caught out constantly trying to power farm this Lilia to get an advantage. We haven't seen any real impactful Weaver's walls from Scout to try and play the map, and the range of this Jhin, the supportive ability of this Jhin is just not going to do enough, and the scaling for Peyz is not going to come through really any time in this game. It's JDG completely on the back foot, and they're giving up everything across the map. The Rift Herald is free. All the outer turrets are down except the mid lane tier 1 turret. How do you come back from this if you're JDG outside of TS really overstepping, Trouble?
I mean, okay, this is not entirely impossible. We have seen games go to waste with Elder and Baron buffs active. We will not name names, we will not point fingers. However, here they will teleport Talia straight to lane, and they're looking for 369.
Flashless still has ult. Gwen is immune, and they're really biding their time, and Kanavi sniffs something out. He tries to go to cover him, but now they just jump on Kanavi. He does flash away for the Deadly Flourish, but gets slept. They're trying to burn through the tanky Sejuani. They do find the kill, and they get the Lilting Lullaby to JackeyLove. Shun's going to chase him down, but he needs the rest of his squad. They're playing from behind. JackeyLove quits the flash, but the Weaver's Wall to follow. The curtain call, not needed. Finally, picks coming across for JDG. Some light at the end of the tunnel in this dark, dark game 2.
And there it is. We're talking about it. Top esports overextend. They're two split apart. They get picked off by JDG. 2 kills going over to the side of JDG. 1 on Talia and 1 on Peyz's Jhin. However, they're still gonna lose that top lane tier 2 tower. Yone is going to be a huge problem. However, JDG looked at the window where Yone was not there. Creme did not TP into this fight, and Top esports lose to. Let's see if JDG will manage to do anything with this extra gold that is put in their inventory, potentially very, very close to the second items being completed. As I say that, Infinity Edge straight into Peyz's inventory. And let's see if that's going to make any difference, because in a minute and a half, there's going to be another dragon spawning, and Top esports are definitely going to want to fight for that.
Peyz will certainly hit hard into everybody not named Kanavi by this point, knowing Jin's kid. My question becomes, though, yes, good play for JDG, but how often going forward are they ever going to get a fight or a window to scrap where neither solo lane for TES are involved? I don't think that window is going to get much bigger. It might even close even further, knowing that Creme and Kanavi are just doing a good old-fashioned undercover mission on this voracious Otacon, and JDG have no idea, and all of a sudden, all of TES have false lives to get even more aggressive than they want to.
I've just realized that this buff actually looks like the old school Baron buff. I don't know if people remember this, but I remember like some spiky purple flowers that were rotating around champions. So like this sort of resembles that with like the little beams circling champions as well. So
I see it.
It's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. A little bit reminiscent of the old Rift.
Speaking of the Rift,
talking about purple.
Yeah, talking about purple, and speaking of the Rift, places for JDG to take control of on the Rift slowly dwindling. They have constant top lane waves to answer, and now they have to cover for mid lane. Good use of the Weaver wall to good old Shelly doesn't get a crack at that mid inner tier 2 turret, but again, these are all defensive plays that are buying time, but keep staring at the gold lead and how much further ahead TES are, and the clock is ticking on JDG.
Yeah, it becomes really difficult to play side lane right here, especially if you're Scout onto this Talia. You lose to Gwen, you lose to Creme's Yone, and Ale might lose 1v3.
It's the double stun down. Kanavi's still tanky. 369 does pop the needlework. Doesn't find the mark on Ala as he hops back to his ally. So that critical ult is down for 369, but again, can't punish TES too much for another minute with the Voracious Octagon. And yeah, Creme is really infatuated with doing the jungler's job. That's the second dragon he's basically gotten all on his lonesome.
Absolutely. Oh, hold on, missing.
Grab. That's unbreakable without a missing just to survive.
Oh boy, there's so much bleeding happening right now for JDG. The first thing you lose is your jungle. The second thing you might lose is your life. A scout just has to TP away to save the latter, which is his life.
He's like, all right, Creme, all right, you're going to do that? We'll trade TPs. He's like, I'll make the trade. But again, that's like cutting off more gold, right? It's just, that's what TS are doing to like dwindle the pipeline. They won't even give Scout a tier 1 turret on the top side. There are no turrets down for top esports still as we crest over 25 minutes.
Yeah, the thing is right here, I feel like top esports don't even need Yone particularly in the fight to take a pick over on JDG. If they do find someone overextended, they have more than enough tools and CC to keep them down to like turn this into an advantageous numbers advantage on the Rift, and this is what they've been doing so far. They've been picking apart JDG one by one member, and then they're turning this into a numbers advantage for them. And I feel like this is what's happening right here too, where they don't mind having Yone in the side lane. He beats Jax and he beats Talia in the current state. And they don't mind if their Yone has or doesn't have that TP because they're more than confident to play the map 4 versus 5 right now.
And go back to Reliable, bullying Ala, trying to catch waves as there are 4 people stacked up towards his side of the map. Luckily for him now, JDG have brought their own bodyguards, missing Jun, Peyz, they're all here. Maybe looking for a fight angle in. Keep your eyes on Shun. We see the Fate Seal for Creme. Doesn't find its mark on the Scout, so that's a critical ult down for the engage-oriented TES comp. It's enough of a window for JDG to look for the fight. Curtain call down, Ala on the flank, but he's pretty sectioned off all on his lonesome. Has to flash. Scout throws down the Weaver's Wall to cut off TS's escape, but now this is turned right on its head. JDG, Ala getting chased down as the depth charge will land. He's going to try and hop to his teammate. The Glacial Prison lands, but the hop comes through first. Who's chasing who at this point? Who knows? It's Creme going forward with the Soul Unbound on a missing who does pop the Unbreakable Will, but his health bar is far too low. There's the first kill. Do the floodgates open? No. Top esports don't want to overextend in this fight, and they're going to give the respect over to JDG and walk away with the 1 key kill.
Yeah, that choke point is very dangerous. Shun has flash right there and his ultimate up and available. This would be a huge loss if top esports ended up dying. However, you'll see that if we get that replay, the goals were pretty clear coming through from both teams. JDG want to split top esports apart and try to pretty much run them down. Ala TPing in the back, Scout ulting in. Top esports not giving them an inch. I feel like the second they saw Ala in the backline flashing through, top esports just made the call. Just go for the Jax, go for the Jax, go for the Jax. This time around, they're going for that Lilia. Hold up.
Ooh, looks like Lullaby having to be used because Creme is just built different. Burns through Jun like a hot knife through butter right there.
I feel like Shun had not looked on his tab button because that QSS has been there for Creme for a pretty large amount of time, and Shun just expected the sleep to go through and that he'd be able to run away. Didn't even use his flash right there, just ended up going down, and Ala might follow the same fate.
2-level advantage. I mean, this isn't even the same league they're playing right now, all in 369. We talked about the one fight JDG wins is when the solo lanes for TES aren't apparent, and right there, they both make key picks onto 2 targets. Grabs Baron in. Might have really just pushed this game over the hump for top esports as we all eyed the game 3 we all desperately wanted of El Clasico.
Yeah, this is top esports being back here. They were angry after game 1, didn't work out for them. JDG can't even take that mid lane tower. He must be like on singular digits standing there. However, Baron and 9,000 gold lead for top esports. Super strong carries around the map. And Mikkel's purchased by Kanavi in this particular game. Playing all in for both JackeyLove, Creme, and 369. Hey, I told you it was his time to go on doglish duty, right? Like, he has to be the support here. He tried being the carry, didn't work out. This time around, it works perfectly facilitating for his teammates.
That's just what you get out of Kanavi. The leader can play so many roles for his team. Whatever you ask of him, he can complete. And no organization knows that as well for top esports than JDG. Exactly why the El Clasico has been such a fun matchup. It's because of guys like Kanavi and 369, who the latter really hasn't disappointed as well off that B1 pick. Kanavi's did, 369's didn't against his former club. It's so impressive to see, knowing the pedigree of this matchup. But it's JDG again. Desperation starting to show out here. They're going, like you called out, great point. Deep TP from Scout, but he's immediately spotted on the wave, and TS will not allow JDG to split them up. They are inseparable right now, all sticking together, knowing if we're going to fight JDG, you're fighting on our terms. And as quickly as that teleport flank comes across, it deteriorates, and JDG are back to playing full defense.
I don't mind JDG trying for these things, because if top esports get desperate or they overextend, they're playing through choke points, which is inside their jungle, and this is where that Lilia could potentially shine. Now, of course, Shun doesn't even have a second item, and primarily there's like 3 items across the board for the set of top esports, specifically on their carries and their Sejuani as well, so it's going to be very difficult to burn through those HP bars and the extra defenses that they now have. And Shun!
Shun will even get to use the Seekers. He at least flashes to safety, but TES are on the hunt, on the prowl, because they are stacked up as 5, just how the doctor ordered. Wave clear will come out here to protect that inhibitor turret for now, but there are more pressing issues across the other lanes as Creme brings up another Baron wave. For now, though, JDG doing a decent job standing up to the first Baron power play.
Yeah, I feel like top esports didn't necessarily get what they wanted from this. Maybe a kill into missing here, but...
Yeah, Unbreakable Will is very valuable, very breakable in this game, and it will not bail out Missing face checking a brush there. Just like the last little fight we saw, starts off with Missing getting picked off. How confident are TS now without the Alistar threat to knock down some of these turrets? Answer, very confident. Mid inhibitor down pretty seamlessly as the base is broken open to JDG.
I mean, this is not even a 4v5, right? They see Alda on the side lane, so this is a 3 versus 5. When you're 10,000 gold in the lead, 11,000 gold, excuse me, in the lead, even more than 10k. So JDG have to back off, maybe give some of those bounties away over to Alle, taking that top lane tier 1, the first tower for JDG.
Woo!
30 minutes into the game. Yeah, well, a little bit of a cause for a celebration. I mean, you gotta take the small victories right here, man. You're like 10,000 gold in deficit, and I feel like your composition isn't really built to beat hard scaling, sustaining champions like Yone, Gwen. You've got Sejuani right there who's super tanky, building towards 4th item for both Gwen and Yone. I mean, I feel like it's back to the drawing board. See what you can get out for game number 3.
It's interesting, right? Trouble 2 games now. We've seen a lot of carry junglers picked, but some have fallen flat, some have succeeded. It's going to make it very intriguing looking ahead to see what the jungle champion draft priority is, knowing that Sejuani, Lilia, the Fury, and Vi are going to be off the table. But don't want to do too much drafting of the future, as we're still live in Game 2, but it definitely feels like one more winning fight for TES, and they have a winning golden road towards that Nexus. And we'll see if JDG even want to try and contest what will likely be the next big coveted objective, that Baron coming up about minute 20. Or it's just going to be Creme limit testing as he knocks Alla down to half HP with a couple autos and a couple of Qs.
Yep, 3 items, extra BF sword, 1 QSS right there. Yeah, surely can walk up. Now they know that there's 2 members of JDG down the bot lane, so top esports are going forward.
Yep. 369, gonna limit test how far he can push the enemy base. They'll knock down the top inhibitor turret, but Scout is already at half HP. Kanavi's health bar is so hard to burn through. Crisp is in a pretty bad spot. He will fall. All the TP's in. Look at Creme off to the flank side. It is JackeyLove and Kanavi having to flash out of the pit, and now 369, he's caught in the middle of 5. Creme does not go in at the right time. Top esports is very desynced. The woes of their team fighting showing in this game, despite their huge lead, having trouble really closing the deal. Oh
boy.
Mikhail's diff, or QSS diff. They both gonna cleanse that Deadly Flourish for
All right,
Creme.
let's see. Look at their inventories. It was, I
Mikhail's,
think they were both at the same time. I think it was both at the same time. QSS and Mikhail's used for Kanavi and Creme right there. And if there's one thing I do not trust about top esports, is them ending games when there's only 2 Nexus towers standing. The NIP game taught me that. So believers, hold your breath for one more team fight because this is not just over. This is very distinct, as you mentioned. I feel like Top Esports go completely dizzy here. They overextended. JackeyLove and 369 are taking the tower, whilst the two members who don't deal damage, Creme and Kanavi, are too deep. And since there's no damage dealt in the carries of JDG, they managed to turn this around. By the time Creme TP's in, the fight is over, and a fantastic hourglass right there from Allah to not get hit by the Yone ult. However, it's going to be Baron.
Here's the problem.
There's double super minions on every single lane for JDG, and unfortunately for the JDG believers, there is no Elder Dragon on Top Esports, so it's impossible for them to throw.
It's impossible for them to.
Rules are rules. I don't make
themselves.
them.
Yep, that's true. That's true. I will say, you know, quietly, is that a Runins on Jhin? That's got to be illegal. I know it's always the funny line with Jhin for all the Jhin players when if you buy rapid fire cannon, he says rapid fire. Where's the fun in that? It should be borderline illegal. I feel a little dirty watching a Jhin with Runin's Hurricane right now. Can we end the game now? Like just FF or something?
This
Interrupt this game?
This might be the dark tech that turns things around.
I mean, I guess it's good at clearing out super minion waves. Is that really why you buy it? Is that shooting flash down? That's been down the whole game, but we're used to that. Holy!
JackeyLove,
here's a fight. JackeyLove's dead. Where did this come from? Alla gets the pick down. Gets into the stasis as well. Peyz on the flank. Oh no, it's happening again. Top E's can't close out games. JDG win another critical fight. That's all the Barons off Top Esports except for 369 and Kanavi.
But 369 is TPing in. Not sure why everyone else is dead. Top Esports cannot close a game to save their lives. And right here, they've thrown away an 11,000 gold lead. It's gone down to 5k. There's still a bunch of super minions and creeps in general raining into JDG's base, so there's more gold for them. And this is actually pretty clever. Again, take the flash off of Shun, freeze you off of that super hard engage, but Allah finds JackeyLove way too overextended, ends up punishing him. Then Creme gets caught as well in the middle of all of this. So two of your primary carries are gone, and guess where your third one is? Down in the Dragon Pit.
Who would have thought, Trouble, that in this game we would watch as many dragons taken by Top Esports by solo lanes as their jungler? That's a little funny quiz question. But yeah, I mean,
someone somewhere on some co-stream has probably said the word unable. I'm not gonna say the middle word, it's a verb. Okay? Someone somehow said it on a co-stream somewhere while watching this game, and they've completely cursed the heck out of TES. Alright. 4 items. JDG.
Oh boy. Here we go.
Double TP.
Do TS get sectioned off? That's the one problem. JackeyLove is completely caught. He's alone without flash. Alla has him sectioned off. The curtain call shots land. JackeyLove goes down first, but they still have the soul lanes to try and hold them up. 369 is very strong. Watch for Creme to try and dive in. Double stasis comes across. Creme goes in. Great golden by Scout. Creme is completely nullified as Alla knocks down Chris. 369 does find the kill onto Shun, but JDG still have the man advantage. All they have to deal with is the big bad Gwen, who does get stunned up, but is able to dash out until missing. Goes for the Alistair sec. Headbutt polarized, throws 369 into his entire team. He goes down next. It's happening again. Top Esports don't know how to close games.
Oh my god, JDG with another teamfight win right here. They're gonna send Alla to save the two Nexus towers, and JDG are gonna secure their second tower of the entire game. And oh my god, Top Esports, what in the world is going... Did Sally say unlosable? If someone knows, say it in the chat. If Sally said unlosable, then Top Esports know who to go for. Because this is straight off a horror film. JackeyLove keeps getting caught time over time again. Another incredible flag TP coming through from JDG, this time from Alla, following through. And Chris has no way of following JackeyLove past the wall. He would have to flash through, but I feel like, again, they're so miscoordinated and too far forward. And then the damage dealers are not there, but then Chris and Kanavi are too far forward, and then the damage doesn't stick while the CC does. It's actually crazy.
It was a great Zanya's there from Scout. The Glacial Prison goes wide. He shut down 2 of those ultimates. And we talked about it. While TES were doing a really good job keeping JDG in place, it was staying as 5, staying synced up. That has not been a reality at all in these last couple of fights. And they have even more time to stall out. Baron does come up in about a minute. They've got Elder, which apparently is the evil being for TES. Somehow we're here. Yeah. That's up in a minute's time. My question becomes, when do JDG feel comfortable trying to leave their base? Because if we're going off the TES throw logic, you can't lose in your own base when TES comes knocking. So should they just give up everything to stay in base?
I mean, to be fair, they've just been soaking up all of the creeps that are running into their own base. They've just been taking all the gold funneled to them by Top Esports, taking all those inhibitor towers, which should technically have like sealed the deal for Top Esports. But it hasn't quite been the case. Again, I feel like they are not necessarily playing very well around JackeyLove. He has been left to dry pretty much by Chris, by Kanavi, and even though it should literally just be Creme and 369 playing their own game, there are they have high agency when it comes to those teams. They can jump in the back and they can play how they want to. It has unfortunately been JackeyLove left out to dry, and I would love to see Kanavi and Chris sort of hugging that Corki and helping him survive these fights and these flanks that are coming through incredibly well by Ale, and Ale being that one again. Oh, hold up.
Chris goes in with the dredge line. JDG are out of their base, somewhat out of their depth. They'll just be losing his ultimate. Ala, very thankful for the pink word to hop. 2, as the Baron is started up, and JDG are here. How can they section TES off? Will we see the sync fight kindly come across as Creme does commit the ult just onto Ala, gets stunned up. The Mikhail saves it for now, but the crit shot nearly finds the kill. Kanavi does pick up the big-time Baron as June is running a wild in the pit. Creme very low, Kanavi as well. Peyz flashing after both of them, finds the kill onto Kanavi. JackeyLove is untouched and throws 369, and 369 wants to call game. The GA comes out for Peyz. He pops back up, the sleep throws out the stasis. It's pandemonium on the map, but Peyz is gonna crit shot 369 to the face. The big bad solo lanes are down, and JackeyLove and Chris have to run for the wayside. TES get buried, but it still doesn't save them.
JDG have the chance to do the funniest thing in this series. JackeyLove still alive. There is still wave clear on the side of Top Esports, and JDG have committed most of their summoner spells and their ultimates. So it's gonna be just this particular inhibitor. There's no way they're looking to end it. They're just going to back off right now. They need to set up for this Elder Dragon coming up for themselves. But Peyz with the Mosquito build, you laughed at it. That Runans is doing absolute God's work on the Rift for JDG. And I feel like the range that JDG has is just so difficult for Top Esports to deal with. Their melee champions just cannot connect.
But this is what's scaring me. They didn't have time to reset. Kanavi's back on the map. JackeyLove and Chris are trying to interrupt this Elder play. Do JDG throw this all the way at Elder? Kanavi, can he get in for the steal? Is he going to go in? He gets it! Kanavi steals the Elder and saves Top Esports, but he's not done. He's on the hunt. He knows TES have the big bag Elder, and he wants to end the game right goddamn now. Ala's the first one to fall. The dominoes falling in a row for TES. It's the leader, the captain for Top Esports, the former JDG 5-year veteran that might have just stopped their miracle comeback.
Top Esports with the miraculous steal from Kanavi are looking to finally figure out a way to end this damn game. They went from an 11k gold lead down to nothing, down to everything again. This Elder Dragon should signify game end for them.
They don't have any waves. Like bot, mid lane and top lane are not coming in for years. It's got to be the bot wave, but you called it. They have Elder on 4 members. They're bringing Creme up as well. Baron's still available for JackeyLove. This has to be it. TES finally are going to be able to get over the hump. The Nexus turrets are getting burned with ease. Can Peyz and Scout do it? They're losing HP rapidly. The sleep from Shun, it won't save them. 369 gets 1. Scout goes into the stasis, but it won't save them. Kanavi just rescued this series for Top Esports, and we're going to game 3.
Someone give this guy a massive raise, and like I don't know, like the best Chinese food there is after this series. Like if Top Esports, like if Top Esports lost that, there would be serious discussions behind the scenes. Like this, I do not like. I feel like
unlosable.
I don't even have the words. Okay, let me. I'll let you speak. I'll collect my thoughts in just a second.
Okay. I have a important statement.
Right.
Unlosable. We knew. Unlosable.
Someone
right?
said
No,
it. I'm
that's
telling you, man. Someone said it. Someone said it somewhere. You
100%
just
somebody
know.
said it.
You just know.
By the way, I was keeping an eye on it because I know Trouble. We were talking about the NIP TES series, and it's burning in my head because I was on that cast. But they threw a 9.4K gold lead at one point to NIP. This would have been a 12K gold lead throw. That is how close they got to losing it. That is astronomical.
I feel like they had so many distinct fights where Kanavi and Crisp were on the same page, but no one else was. And I think they kept constantly forgetting that they have a Corki in the team who is not very elusive, who needs to play somehow a front to back, who needs to be somehow protected, and they just kept forgetting about JackeyLove and letting him die. But that Corki deals a ton of damage in the late game. With 4 items, you need that Corki's damage to stick, because guess what? When there's so much range coming through from JDG, and it's so difficult for your melee champions to stick onto them, JackeyLove's the one that's gonna bail you out. JackeyLove's the one that's doing the range damage that can actually connect rockets and auto attacks, and you need to help him survive. And I feel like they sort of figured this out at the Baron fight right before they overcommitted and lost that one as well. But man, like, this Kanavi guy, like, it's just like someone, I don't know, like someone give him a neck massage, because this game was gone. He was in Top Esports' hands, and then he just splattered all over the floor.
Who knows what this series might be. That steal, like, if it doesn't go his way, even if he gets out of the pit, right, because he was able to flash out after dashing in to go for the steal, that is still Elder on all 5 members of JDG, and you have to now fight them to try and cut them off going. Let's just for a second soak in this gold graph, by the way. Okay, I was a little bit off, but they nearly threw an 11. I'm rounding up. 11,000 gold at one point, and it falls all the way down to a mere couple of thousand, which means nothing at the 40-minute mark.
Yeah, and I just want to point out JackeyLove's damage as well. I know that Corki, like, lies within the lines of, like, an Ezreal, and he pokes a lot, but JackeyLove was still the majority of Top Esports' damage. And I'm going to pin it down to him for having, you know, sketchy and questionable positionings in a couple of these fights, but I feel like his team completely forgot him for a lot of these fights that we're about to see. And Top Esports just need to realize a lot better how to play through their win conditions. I just feel like because 369 and Creme got so far ahead, with the Yone and the Gwen, they completely forgot how to play with their AD carry, and they just went too deep constantly.
They went on autopilot. We say, like, it's like ego checking. You can call it autopilot, but it is even they rescue this game. But I still think it is a fundamental problem, because there are a lot of games to play in Group Ascend. They are in the most comfortable spot of any teams in the group. But for the expectations we have of Top Esports, one, as the defending champions in the LPL, like, big time playoff series, if you're throwing end games like this, like free wins, you might just throw yourself out of the playoffs doing stuff like this. And then if we look even further, Trouble, like, you do this stuff internationally, First Stand is not the only woe for Top Esports internationally if they have these problems closing out games, and it needs to be a real conversation.
Yeah, and I feel like, remember when I mentioned, like, super early, like at the beginning of the season, I was like, Top Esports need to get their ish together, because they're not all that. And you're like, but Trouble, they're 7-1. They're 7-1, but this is what happens in between, right? The Game 1 incident, the NIP Game 2 incident, now this one as well, which was very close. Like, had Kanavi not 50-50 that smite, the game was over right there and then.
Series
and
over.
I don't blame Shun for not getting the 50-50, because Kanavi literally flashed last potential second possible, and when there's 2 junglers in the pit, and when there's 2 smites in the pit, it's no jungler's fault missing that one, unless it's like a Kalista helping, like, one or the other side, right?
Right.
But my God, for it to have to come down to one player to miraculously save an entire game's effort of an 11,000 gold lead, there's something really wrong down in the fundamentals, and I think Top Esports really need to go back to the drawing board to figure how they want to play out their late game.
The most infuriating part is that they are doing the hard part of games well. Okay, let's see. I just want to get the wow. 892 and Kanavi gets in there. So I don't know if that was an early smite from Shun, but like you said, it's just in the moment, like it's like that. So
it's a complete 50-50, yeah.
Yeah. But that was, and I swear we better not fumble this. That was the player of the game play. That was the MVP play. This should be the easiest MVP given over I've seen. Easier than the scout Lissandra Pentakill. This is Kanavi. This series is over without Kanavi.
I don't want to take away like anything from 369. I felt like Creme still sort of fell flat when it came to the team fights. I didn't see any of these big ultimates that I do see from Yone, but again, it was so difficult to play Yone this particular game due to the range from JDG. But then again, unless Kanavi pulls this miraculous steal, the miraculous 50-50 on the smite, the game is completely gone and completely lost. So I would personally give Crisp the MVP for his early game performance. I think this guy was like incredible. He was everywhere, top lane, mid lane, in the jungle, in the bot quadrant, in the top quadrant, setting vision, starting fights, sweating fights. He was absolutely incredible for this entire thing. And smite still aside, I do think Crisp deserves a massive shout out here. There we go. Okay.
Good shout out. Kanavi gets the MVP. I was about to say, TS have broken Trouble so much that you are moving off Kanavi Glaze. You moved off Kanavi Glaze to give an MVP to somebody else. That is what TS is doing to you right now.
to me and to their fans, you know?
Yes, yeah. Shout out to Kanavi though. Grabs his 14th MVP of the entire year of the LPL. They brought over Split 1. He does not have 14 MVPs in Split 2 alone. That would be ludicrous.
Although he could.
And also, I think it's mathematically impossible, but the way he's playing, why not give it to him? Definitely has the most MVPs of all the junglers in Group Ascend. Grabs that one as he single-handedly, with one key and one call after, saves Top Esports from the worst collapse of 2025 in LOL Esports. But we still have a series on our hands, folks. That was them just rescuing the series. We're going to go to another intermission on the other side, trying to figure out what the hell Game 3 looks like with JDG and Top Esports. El Clasico for one final time tonight. We'll see you guys in a few.